when I'm doing the stream, I'm not doing the commercial like Greg does. But oh well.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, you ready, William?
Ready?
Okay, so here we go. Three.
Can't see you, William.
Oh, my bad. Hold on. There you go. Better.
All right, and three, two. Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Brad Wren.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, it's Cautionville. I mean Martinsville. William Westbrook.
Well, Brad wouldn't know anything about that, would he?
Not
On
touching it.
on today's show, we get you up to speed on the ADAC Sim Racing Expo in Germany. See if you have fallen into the iRating trap. Greg tries iRacing Arcade. There is another active shifter coming to the market. Is Thermaltake really making sim gear? SimLab announces their new wheelbase, and does your DDU size really matter?
That's right. And remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all of the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com. Select the show notes. We hope to see you there.
All right, William, you got the first one. We have a sim to reality story.
Yep. Dirty Mo Media put a Twitter post about Raja Caruth on the new Dell Junior download, so everybody go listen. It's just basically, I mean, I think we've talked about Raja plenty on this show, but it's a small snippet on X and then a large, long form interview for him talking about starting racing on his school computer right before. I mean, I don't know how old was he, 13, 14, whatever, and then now he's joining JR Motorsports.
Yeah, it was fun to listen how he took his school MacBook and partitioned the drive so he could install Windows on one side and do some iRacing. Pretty clever.
Yeah, he's a talented kid. Just needs to get in the right equipment. So excited to see what he'll do next year for JRM. He's run good. He's still in the playoffs. He's got a chance to make it to the Final Four. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night at Martinsville in the Truck Series. I'm sure it's going to be a mess of a race.
So Dale Jr. was kind of saying another message in this video as he was talking to Raja Caruth, uh, referring to William Byron and saying as William Byron came up, he was a little concerned about being known as the came from sim racing guy, and at some point he would kind of disassociate from that or try to step away from it a bit. Um, but he also indicated that hey, now in today's day and age, it's actually not that something to shy away from.
Yeah, I haven't gotten through the whole podcast, but one of the things he talks about, in the beginning is how he used to, nobody took sim or took iRacing as any sort of legitimate form of training or a tool. When he was still towards the end of his career, when he was still racing. So, and now we're full circle. I mean, he talks about, and you look at the guys now, they're in the sim almost every day. Raj is basically 5 days a week. If he's not at the track, he's in the sim. He's a sim driver for Hendrick. He's doing all this stuff. And it's become just a completely integral part of the entire industry. And it's not just NASCAR, it's every facet of motorsports. Sim has become super important. So I just think it's still, to me, it's very cool to see, and I love how much props that Junior gives to iRacing because again, we've got laser scan tracks. We have all the tools that we need to get out and turn laps with the real guys, and they use it as a tool, and I think we should be able to do it as well.
Well, you talk about Raja going to the Chevy simulator, but boy, when he gets home at night, he's on the iRacing and he's streaming on TikTok, so he's racing day and night on the sim. All right, Brad, tell us about Give Me My Frames Back.
Yeah. So since the last update, I think we may have talked about this before as well. There's just a plethora of frames issues going on. They somewhat seem somewhat isolated, and then it's just There's more forum threads, and I've seen a couple instances where we have gotten some feedback from staff, but this one's by Dirk Wagner, and this is discussing how this is all the way back to September. But as a race has progressed or as sessions progressed, the frames continue to drop. I know, Mike, you guys said y'all experienced this at Talladega. So I have seen a few posts, like I said, from staff that they think it's could be up to three different things, and they've identified some, and they're still working on trying to find out some other stuff. But something is definitely going on. Um, whether it's locked frames or whatever, it's been quite a mess the last few weeks.
Oh, we were racing last night, and you said you were having problems. Did you figure it out? Was it your haptics, or did it end up being something else?
The haptics is what caused the freezes. I'm still not what happened. As soon as you got onto Discord, literally it was like a slideshow. 130 frames per second, but it was just like I mean, it was just
Hey,
like a
that's
slideshow.
what Tyler Williamson problem had. That's why he couldn't be in Discord anymore during races.
I just again haven't had an issue till last night, and it just as soon as I turned the overlay off, it was fine. But to have the overlay on, it was causing all the issues. So it's just, I don't know, it's just bizarre. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, the night before, no issues. Last night, it's a disaster.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had issues since I wiped the hard drive and redid it, but I've had a lot of people, not only you, saying they've been having frame problems for a couple days now, and I, we can't seem to find a correlation. Nobody seems to think like your haptics solved one of your problems, but not the other. I haven't heard anybody else say that they've been able to fix it. Closing Discord, I don't know what's going on, so hopefully staff can continue to work on that.
So as far as staff goes, Michael Hinkle did acknowledge this from staff, and he wrote a dissertation here. I'm going to read some of it. He believes it breaks down to three different problems that people in this thread are running into. Number one, the sudden loss of performance due to a bug in the sim. This performance occurs when the user is staying at a steady, normal for them frame rate, and then after a few laps, the frame rate drops to dismal levels. The example would be 20 frames per second or less in some cases. So that's where I was. I was about 40 to 60 during that race. And then the last third of the race, it dropped to 19, basically.
So I
Yeah,
haven't had any of that, but since the last update, I've probably lost 25 to 30 frames right off the top. It doesn't matter what track I go to, I'm 20 or 30 frames right off the top.
Yeah, Hinkle in the forum said that they were working on it, but they're having problems reproducing it consistently. And if you can't reproduce a problem consistently, it's going to be hard to fix it. He says they're working on it though. They made some progress, so hopefully that's a thing of the past pretty soon.
Right. So at least they acknowledge, I have a 4090. I shouldn't be dropping to 19 frames a second.
Right.
Okay, where did he go, William?
A car I will never ever drive. The Beetle Light had some issues recently. I got a couple of forum posts from about a week ago. Brian Sawyer in the forums asking, when's it expected to be back in service? There was a bug where the Beetle, if you were choosing to drive it, would just not load into the sim sometimes. But apparently it's been fixed. That was in the latest patch notes. They found a critical issue where the car failed to load, and it is fixed.
Yep. That's really what the patch was for, I think. So, um, they had to like remove the series that this was in completely and to pull the car completely out of the service because it was so broke.
Yeah, I mean, one of the forum posts was, did they retire it and didn't tell anybody? Because it was just gone.
Now, it makes you think though, like they probably didn't even touch that car. It's not a very popular car during the season. The 12 weeks they did code. They did all these different changes and stuff, but why this car? Why did that car break over another one? That's the curious stuff I think about. Like, it doesn't make sense in my head.
Well, that's what we talked about. I mean, when you have all of this stuff and, when the complaints are when something goes to legacy, but it's just that, every time there's an update of some sort, they almost have to touch everything. And it just gets more extensive and more extensive.
Yep, and we talked about the release notes. It was basically fixing the VW. All right, Brad, how about respect? Nothing but respect. Holy cow, this guy blew me away.
Yeah, I want to say I think we've seen a video by him before. So
Yeah, we have. So this is the guy that was a former motocross guy and was paralyzed from the neck down. He does some coaching now, and then we got this video.
yep. So if you look at the script and the video, he's racing Ford Mustang, and not sure where off the top of my head, but everything he's doing, basically with a mouth control. He can move his head up to brake, and I guess either he's biting or down to for the accelerator, and then to I don't know how he's turning per se, but it's
Left,
super
right.
freaking cool. This is I guess it's Brian Tosaselli is I'm guessing is his name.
Yeah, it looks like NERB GP maybe.
It's a bit, yeah, it looks like he's turning his head to turn the car left to right, kind of, but it's up and down for brake and throttle is the other part. Fascinating watching his head and how precise he has to be to actually race competitively, and he is racing competitively. That's what blows me away.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, mind blowing, really. There's a guy that does Battlefield 6 the same way. I thought it was the same guy. I actually had to go look it up. It's not. But yeah, it's just mind blowing what these guys can do when you're faced with adversity like that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's seen it. I mean, you see somebody who's, paralyzed or something, and can paint with the put the paintbrush in their mouth, and I can't paint. I can hardly draw a stick figure, and people can take and do some amazing things. But you're given a challenge, and it's amazing if you set your mind to something and what you want to do, what you can accomplish. So kudos to the guy. That's awesome. He's turning probably better laps than me with a steering wheel.
Hmm.
All right, I got this one. Have you seen this? Boosted Media put up a post stolen from the Sim Racing Expo. Lovely Sim Racing's custom Asher Racing Ultimate Wheel has been literally stolen from the Sim Racing Expo. It is a one of a kind. It's got the lovely Sim Racing logo in, on the front of it. So, uh, wow, I saw this and I was thinking back to the Sim Gaming Expo in Chicago, Brad. How many wheels were laying around on tables we were welcome to walk up, pick up in both hands, hold it, whatever. I couldn't even imagine that somebody would steal one of those things and try to get away with it, but apparently so.
Yeah, it's just it's amazing what people will do. So yeah, I saw either on it was either X or Instagram, but I'm trying to think of the guy's name from Bully Dashboard. Um, but he'd actually put a post up, saying, "Hey,
Constantine.
what was that?"
I think it's Constantinos, isn't it?
Yes, Constantinos, saying basically saying the same thing. Hey, this was stolen. It's one of a kind. If you see it, if you see this thing on eBay or see it, for sale somewhere, there's only one of these made, and it's mine. So yeah, some people just stoop to any level. It's ridiculous.
And then I think in my head, okay, so the guy who took it, he's going to go home and he's either going to A, try to keep it and use it, but looking down and seeing that logo in your face every day and realizing I took this from some guy, I can't imagine how you live with yourself. But then second option, try to sell it. But like you said, it's got the logo on it. The community knows about it now that it's been stolen. Almost every sim racer, is going to realize what's happening here, and the guy's going to get, caught.
Well, if you're willing to steal, you're probably not too upset that you stole it, I guess. I mean, I just, yeah, I'll never understand it.
Okay, so we have another errant FPS link here, Brad, but it looks like it's the same story, right?
Yeah, very similar. Again, this one's from Constantinos Gregorio. So same thing, well, before this is kind of what I've been dealing with. Before season four, he was up somewhere in that 120 FPSs. Now he's very low. But again, it's just, there's a couple other ones here, was getting 130 to 140. Now I'm getting 60 to 70 and whatnot. So I still think there's something going on. I typically every update, I rerun the graphics config and I go ahead and I delete it, let it purge itself, and set everything back up new. And usually don't have any issues. But like I said, this build has been somewhat of a challenge.
All right. Have you guys fallen into the iRating trap? Well, that's what Jaxer asked in his video this week. Here's what he writes about it. Everyone chases iRating, but what if that number isn't what makes you faster? In this video, I give the truth behind iRating, how it works, why it controls so many drivers, and how to finally look at it in a healthy, productive way. Whether you're stuck in 2K, climbing to 4, or just starting iRacing, this video will change how you see progress forever. Learn how to stop obsessing over your iRating, focus on real skill improvement, and enjoy racing again.
It is very easy to obsess over iRating. Um, it's a trap. You know, William and I were running, IMSA last night, and I had a screen freeze, went from fifth to 12, and immediately went up and looked and said, "Oh gosh, man, I'm going to lose like
Hmm.
60 I rating. This is not good." At the end of the day, I mean, I get done watching the video and I'm like, why do I obsess about this? What difference does it make? I mean, up, down, I think David says you typically are going to kind of land where you should be. And but it's an easy trap to get stuck in. I do it with SR as well. I have a bad race and I'll lose a bunch of SR. Then the next race, I'm like, gosh, I got to get SR back. Why is my SRs? I'm below 4. I can't stand to be below 4. And yeah, it's a vicious cycle, and it's very hard to break the constant thought of it.
Yeah, again, I mean, we've had several videos in this vein, kind of similar thoughts. Jaxer's one of the people I really like to watch on YouTube, so I follow a lot of his videos, and I watched this a week ago when it came out, I think. Um, when he started, when I started watching him on YouTube, he was around my rating from a while ago, I think, below 2000. And then obviously he races more officials than I do. I think he's up near 4,500 now. So he has really gotten better very quickly. And I think he's got some sim racing experience in the past too. So maybe he just started low. But he's right. I mean, I obsess over iRating too. Not so much, but like Brad said, I messed up qualifying. We'll talk about this more in results, but I messed up qualifying last night. I started dead last. And the first thing I do when I get up, I look down and I say, oh man, if I finish here, I'm going to lose a bunch of iRating. But again, like I think, man, maybe it was a month ago now, we talked about when I stopped worrying about that and just worried about what I can control and myself. That's when my rating started to go up. So I mean, there's truth to what he says. It's not, you're just not making stuff up. But like Brad said, it's so hard not to watch that number and be like, oh man, I need some tonight. I don't care about SR so much because I know I'm going to do an enduro race at least once a season. So I mean, that takes complete care of my SR. But the IR is a different beast.
Yeah,
So,
I'm almost tempted to, like I have uh, uh, Joe Real Timing up, and I'll have it'll show the I rating gain or loss. I'm almost tempted to turn that off just to keep me from looking at it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have that visible on mine. Look, I'll tell you my strategy. I mean, I like Jaxer's strategy. Mine's just a little different. I don't look at the results page after a race. I don't look at how much I rating I've lost or gained. I'm focused on results. Results winning, okay, or podium or top 5 or top 10. That's that's my focus. And I know in the back of my head, if I'm top half of the field, I probably gained I rating. If I'm in the bottom half of the field, I probably lost. It's not worth it to me anymore after 13 years to go look and see what that number is. I pretty much know what the number is in my head after all the experience I've had. And so I purposely step away from it, focus on the results. If you think about it, results tie directly to I rating, and so it's kind of the same thing. But don't look at the number. Look at, hey, I finished podium or I finished top 5. All right, Brad. How about what was the best thing about the Sim Racing Expo, according to our friend Dave Camp?
Yeah, so we got a video here from Dave Cam, and it's about him walking around and talking to people at the expo. This is what we talked about and what we experienced at the Sim Gaming Expo. To be able to be with a group of like-minded people and talk about the stuff that we all like. The amount of people we met, the different backgrounds, the people that were very new to it or were very involved. This watching him go through this just reminded me of how much I enjoyed the 3 days that we had in Chicago, and just being able to chit chat and there's a outside of what outside of this group here that we gather for the podcast or we're on Discord when we're racing, I don't have anybody else to talk to about sim racing. My wife gets tired of hearing it, but there's nobody else to talk to about this stuff. And this is why events like this are absolutely wonderful to attend.
Yeah, and so Dave Cam really brings home it's more than the hardware. It really is. It's about community, and he does the same thing that me and Greg were actually planning on doing at the Sim Gaming Expo, and we didn't do. We were wanting to record like these interview style questions, and so Dave asked him basically he would find some random person, walk up to him, introduce himself, and hey, what's your name? Where are you from? Why did you come to the Sim, Racing Expo? What's the best thing you've seen here? What's missing from the Sim Racing Expo that you would like to see? And then what do you sim on? What is your rig and title of choice? And so he asked the same questions of everybody. So it was kind of neat to listen to the various responses from the different people in Europe that he interviewed, and so it was a great idea to put it on a video and present it for people to watch. I wish we would have done that. I think once we got there, Brad, it was very. I think it felt more informal. We were just falling into conversations with people, standing around in circles, and it didn't feel right to actually pull out a video camera.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I agree 100%. It was just more of a conversation. Again, it was the lounge. People just kind of gathered and we talked.
Yeah, and so I'm looking forward to doing that again. Like you said, you don't get to talk with a lot of people about this hobby. And so to come together, in person once a year and, do a fellowship basically, was invaluable. Okay, William, Greg tries iRacing Arcade.
Yeah, do we want to cover this one already, or do we want to wait till Greg's back?
Well, I think we'll ask him when he comes back. He
All right.
couldn't make it
So
tonight, but
yeah,
yeah,
Greg.
he put up a video.
Yeah, he put up about a 12-minute video of him streaming a couple of iRacing Arcade demo races in the Porsche Cup. Uh, oh, I skimmed through it and watched it a little bit. I didn't really hear him talking about it all too much. So he looked like he was having fun. He finished dead last in the first race and won the second. So
Yeah, I mean, he was on a controller and looked like it was, a little difficult to control. It looks like he was getting better the more that he raced. But I mean, it looks neat. It was kind of neat to see the gameplay and how it, the truck pulls up and the car backs off, and again, I think to me this would be cool if it was something that was like mobile. If you could do it on your
yeah,
phone or something. I think this would be a huge, huge thing.
it's got the victory lane celebrations that he's wanted for a while.
There you go. Him and Donnie Spiker should be happy.
I'd play this on my iPhone. Okay, and then next up we got the Roush Esports Mustang GT4 race, Wednesday, October 29th. Roush Esports. Brad, why don't you tell us more about that? Didn't you do this last year?
Yeah, so I've done the holiday. They do a holiday race every year, which is in December, which I'm planning to do that again. But I jump in their Discord every now and then, and they're actually doing this next week. So you can join the Discord. You can sign up to join the race. I think they're going to do like 40 people or so. It's fun. I mean, it's they'll be live streamed. I know Jack Rouse Jr. is going to be there, and there's commentary. It's fun. The holiday showdown is a blast. Usually, some of the Coke Series guys are in there when they do that and stuff. So it's neat to see. one of the teams that's somewhat embracing, iRacing and putting up stuff for us to do. So yeah, I just threw it up on script. Anybody wants to check it out, there's a link to the Discord. You can join there, then you can sign up. So it's pretty cool. It's fun. It's not gonna take it's not gonna be a long night thing, but just something fun, different to do.
Yep. And then the MX5 500, I actually just watched the end of the actual race on YouTube right before the recording. They had a green white checker at the end, and the guy in second definitely moved the leader out of the way. He got door slammed, and then the guy in third basically got by and won the race. It was fun ending. But we have the iRacing version of the MX500 special event. We did get corrected by some of our listeners over the week from last week. Where did this originate? It originated actually from Moon Car. Remember Moon Car with, I think it was Dale Tanhart, or is that who did it? Who did Moon Car? I forget. Anyway, that's who actually started the 500, which is the MX5 Cup at Martinsville. And so now we actually have IMSA, MX5 Mazda at Martinsville this weekend.
So Mooncar is Moonhead.
Moonhead. Okay, yeah. Okay, there you go.
Should have known. Oh boy.
And so the iRacing event is October 24th through the 26th. Good luck.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
It sounds so fun, and then it's just not. It's so sad.
I think once you get the initial wrecking done after the first 100 laps or something, and then you
Yeah,
have a
but
core group that just can run, the last 15 cars or something, it'd probably
that
be
might be
okay.
true. But the first 100 laps is going to take 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, let's just think about NIS. What did Chris have last night? 250 laps, and he was 130 some under yellow. Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah. Dan Raymond said last night he had 24 cautions in his race.
Yeah, sounds about right.
All right, Brad, this week in iRacing.
As we talked about the MX5 500, and then just as a quick reminder, you got the GT3 Regional Tour. America's is at Road Atlanta. There you go. William, you could jump in there. Asia Pacific's at Phillip Island, and then Europe is at Algarve. No, thank you, Portimao. That's another one of William's favorite tracks. So, and all the normal Ringmaster, Draftmaster, Rainmaster, and whatnot. So, outside of that, no, none of the major esports stuff. We're a little bit. I think we're still a few weeks away before the IMSA stuff starts up. So,
Podcast housekeeping. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Get involved in the discussion over at the Discord. Lots of stuff going on, talking equipment usually over there. So join us. It's pretty fun. Of course, our show notes at the iRacersLounge.com. Guys, we put some effort into making this website for you to use as a resource, and it's a great way to look at visually what we're talking about. So bring that up on your phone while you're listening to the podcast. We are in regular rotation at Performance Motorsports Network. Of course, we do have iRacers Lounge merch at iRacersLounge.shop. Fantasy Talladega. How'd we do?
yep, Cup Series rolled into Talladega this past week, and so coming away with the win was Vol 1977 with 196 points. And second was I'm Not a Professional. Third, that's that road guy, Penguin Racing. So
Woo! How about
nice
that?
job, William. Tied for fourth, we had Kid Adrian and then Team Dwayne. So
So, full disclosure, I did not know that happened because I turned the app off well in the beginning of the race because I had Cindric and Elliott as two of my drivers. So I was like, that ain't happening. So I put Elliott on the bench and didn't look at it again. So that's the first time seeing that. That's good.
yeah, so somewhat normal Talladega race. We didn't kind of had a almost big one kind of right there at the beginning that Elliott got caught up in, but not really, never really had the big one like we typically get.
I mean,
Well,
it was. just a race until with like 20 to go, and then you got some excitement. But other than that, it was just eh.
I was
Yeah, it's the fuel saving and what it's what they've turned into. But yeah, let's just run a 20 lap race and be done.
I was fascinated how not once but twice the leader of the race got wrecked out while leading the race. And man, I felt like, man, this is just like iRacing. Like iRacing has totally nailed it. The entire package of copying what NASCAR is at Talladega, like the car, the track, the physics, the way it pushes the air, the stalls, the side draft, the dumping the leader from the lead, the whole thing. They've done so well. You got to give them kudos.
And that's why I hate that type of racing.
But you got to admit, even though you hate the right type of racing, iRacing nailed it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when Busher got turned, it was it's not the first guy that's pushing; it's the guy that's behind him. It's the normal. I mean, look, how many times do we talk about it? You're sitting third in line, and the guy behind you is just pounding on you. It's like, dude, where do you want me to go? I cannot go through the guy that's in front of me. Um, but yeah, yeah, we saw that. But in the end, uh, Briscoe got the win with kind of a last lap pass. Um, Gosh, why, Lord, drives the 5 car right out of my head.
Kyle,
Larson runs out of gas, which surprised me. They
That was
just must not have
awful.
put
You
much
can't
in
do
there.
that, man. You can't do that.
he
Yeah, so
was
he
looking
runs.
good too. He was in a good
Yeah,
spot.
he
Yeah, and
was.
it goes from being relatively safe to he's almost got to win. I mean, that's a mistake that you can't make when you're trying to get a championship.
Well, I think him and Bell are they can still point their way in. They need somebody, you know, either Denny or Briscoe needs to win, or a non-playoff driver needs to win. That makes their day a lot easier at Martinsville.
All right. And so who do we like at Martinsville? Is it Hendricks or is it Gibbs?
Blaney.
Yeah, I say you got to go Blaney. He's been very good here. I mean, Denny is very good here too, and he can come in there and stake up a show because he ain't got nothing to worry about.
He's got momentum.
I think Blaney, Elliott, um, well, the other one just left my head, but three of them, I think,
Byron.
yeah, Byron. That's it. Yeah, I think those three. I don't think you're going to see much from JDR. They're going to say that they're going to run hard, but they don't got to worry about it, right? If they've already got two of their people in.
Yeah, and I mean the only thing that Byron typically has struggled here in the fall, especially when he's been down and has got to have a good week. Bell struggled here last year. If you remember, this was the entire the debacle with nobody passing
Yeah.
Byron, and then I think it was what Bubba gave up spots to Bell. I mean it was all of the manipulation of the race and all that stuff. So um, I don't know. We went we went to the spring race last year, and I love Martinsville. We went for years. We never missed a race. But with this package currently, it just is not an enjoyable race at all to watch. It just there's no passing. It's just not enjoyable. So hopefully the 750 horsepower next year will make a difference. I don't have a whole lot of faith in it, but we'll see. So playoff standings as we come out of Talladega, we got Canadian in the lead with 1725, followed by Team Terry 1715. Look at that, up into third, Penguin Racing with 1710. So fourth is AJ 14, and then fourth is HAL 14, and fifth is TGI Racing. So only got 2 races left, guys. It's getting pretty tight.
All right. Hardware, software, crazy or not. We got a video from our friend we met at the Sim Gaming Expo, OSA, and he puts up the best three motion sims on the market. And the first one on the list is the Driven Dynamics Prime. And boy, this one was really fun to drive. I got on it several times. It has the belt tensioner built in. Uh, it was definitely one of the best ones there for sure. I forget the price on that one.
$175,000.
Yeah, that's probably why I liked it, right? Then the second one was the Cubic Systems QS35, another one that I ran as well. What a beauty this was. And it had the SemiCube active pedals, I think all three of them. But yeah, that one was really nice. And then finally,
$60,000.
much more affordable, right? And then the most affordable is the last one on the list, the Vero Motion Legend GTR. This has the D-box style on each corner as well as a uh, a slip platform on the bottom where the front and the back go side to side. Um, I actually did not get a chance to try this at the Sim Gaming Expo. I'm kicking myself for not waiting in the line, the long queue to get on this one. I think it's one of the only ones I didn't try. But based on the videos post show, this is the most affordable, and a lot of people were raving about how it felt. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, you get the yaw, so you get the, that's the whole thing that's missing with a static rig. Is trying to feel the car get out from underneath you. So you get that with this, along with the six DOF. This one's $18,000, I believe. So still, way out of most of our price ranges. But look, one of the things he says is, you take these 175,000, $60,000 motion rigs. Look, you in your basement, this is not being built for you. This is being built for professional drivers. This is for people that are doing this for a living. um
Commercial
that's really,
applications.
yeah, that's really who the their target market is when it comes to this stuff. But when you get into, like the Vero, and we looked at the video, I think last week or week before, that random call sign, no, Sim didn't put out, discussing the Vero and stuff like that. I think when you get into that that $6,000 to $10,000 range, is that expensive? Absolutely, but that's something that's a little bit more attainable, for the home use. And again, we talked about the belt tensioner and stuff like that, and there's quite a bit of talk about, a good belt tensioner can even, as odd as it sounds, and we talked about this when they first started showing these, that would be odd to have it without the motion. There seems to be a lot of talk about how good that can help with immersion, even if you don't have motion.
All right, William, we got Wilson gloves.
Brad, you put this on here. Is there something you wanted to?
I didn't. I think Mike put it
Oh,
on.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
It looks just to be a manufacturer of different types of gloves, and I guess they do some racing gloves, Mike.
they say they do. And so I was just looking at their website to see if any actually say that, but I don't see any that actually say that. But their social media posts indicated they did. But yeah, they
Karting.
have karting gloves and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, they do says they have sim racing gloves, but I can't find a price for anything. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you look at their
They're,
menu, they do have sim racing gloves, but there's no price when you start looking sizes or
yeah.
anything.
Even when you go to the cart and almost through the checkout thing, there's still no price. I don't get a good feeling from that website, Mike.
I guess not if you can't actually buy it, right?
I think you could buy it, we just don't know how much you're spending.
Even better. All right, I got this one. The Donald has been updated. This is just a reminder that there is a custom spotter pack with Donnie Trump, and I actually run this. Uh, anyway, we have a video here uh, that basically shows, gives a sampling of what it sounds like, and you can go in and listen to Barrett Morton's video, and he gives a shout out to Puck Vanek, who's the guy who actually created this spotter pack. You can find it on the forum.
Probably triggering people.
EDS. Okay, Brad. Then next we actually have a DDX Prime Driven Dynamics Prime actual review video.
Yeah, this is with Osa again. A lot of the same snippets that we saw in the other video, but he kind of walks through. This is the the high end one. This is the $175,000 one. So yeah, kind of touches on a lot of the same stuff that he did on when he was comparing each of the ones. So just a primary, just to focus on the driven dynamics.
Yeah, he kind of tells you what does 65 degrees of yaw angle mean, and he walks you through that as far as feeling the rear end of the car slip out. His one of his major points in this video though was, this is great for car racing. This would be awesome for a flight sim. Like he's like, yeah, this if you put a stick in this and try to do some flight sim stuff, it's gonna be really cool.
So the one thing was at the Sim uh, Gaming Expo is over at the Podium Racing booth where they had two or three of these set up. They had one that kept going down. It kept stopped working, like something was wrong with it, and so the engineer guys would kind of stand around and look at it and decide what's wrong with it and how to fix it. And you're just kind of casual watching. And I was thinking, man, it'd suck if I was in my basement at home. I had spent $175,000 or whatever it cost, and you have this crazy thing, and then it stops working. Oh my gosh, you're gonna have to call somebody. Like it's pretty complicated the way it's wired, and there's a big old power supplies over in a box and huge cabling and all this stuff.
If you can afford it, you can probably afford somebody to come out and fix it.
I think you're gonna get some pretty good customer service. Let me rephrase that. I would hope you're gonna get some pretty good customer service. You spend $175,000 with these people.
Good
Yeah,
point.
that's like the guy that buys the high end sports car that complains that the oil change is $1,000.
All right, William, we have a button box Superior Mini.
Yeah, so I had not heard of these guys before we put them on the script. It looks like they make little mini button boxes, some Steam Deck enclosures, or Stream Deck, sorry, enclosures, and some VESA mounts for 8020 rigs. And the one that's focused in the Instagram post is actually a custom build for a customer. It's still their same mini button box, but it's all in printed. I think it's 3D printed, all in custom colors for the guy. It looks really cool.
Well, it looks like gold, or maybe brass, but it's got like gold metal on it with a carbon fiber kind of front. Looks pretty sharp.
And they're not that expensive, to be honest. The mini button, I don't know how much the custom would be, but the mini button box just by itself is $70.
Yeah, that's it's not horrible. I mean, they're pretty neat looking. The quality looks to be good. 3D print, it looks to be nice and solid and sturdy. So I think they look really good for if you're looking for a small, small button box, doesn't have a really big footprint. I think it's very cool.
It's got the ignition switch on it too, and it might seem silly, but I can't tell you how many people I've talked to in the sim racing one. They want that switch. Like
I have one.
they think
I
it's the
want it.
coolest thing, and they want it. One of my
Absolutely.
guys I talked to wants to use it as like a on off for his microphone, like for mute and everything. So I was like, okay.
Well, it's just it adds another level, It's before iRacing changed the whole ignition thing with the cup car, saving fuel as you roll around, you
That's true.
flip the ignition switch off and the car would die, you turn it back on, pop the clutch, and it would pick right back up. So it's just one of those immersion things.
Yeah, I think having a actual switch or I would say call it a mechanical button box is kind of a must have. But I also think in sim racing today, I mean, having a stream deck is just as important, man. The stream deck is so nice.
Yeah, I like
Yep.
mine. I could not race without it anymore. I wasn't sure when I bought it. I was like, okay, well, maybe it'll replace the button box, and I might get a little bit of use out of it. I use that thing every time I get in the car. Could not race without it.
Yeah, it becomes indispensable, right? It's part of it. Okay, Brad, how about ASR and Novus team up?
You get an Instagram post here from Advanced Sim Racing. So partnership announcement with Novus Racing Simulators. So this is their what are they calling this? The X Cage chassis to the ASR ecosystem. It's a tubular. It's interesting just because it's almost like a foot box in there. You know, you can have slides your feet in there. You've got four posts that are coming up, kind of encapsulating the foot box. It's neat. I'm just not a fan of tube chassis. I had one, and it's just it's not extremely customizable. It looks really cool. Just yeah, like I posted in Discord this week, man. I like adding and tweaking and playing with my rig, and I added something, uh, put another thing on this week. So it's just that's the thing I enjoy about 80/20.
Right. The customization, uh, look, as you go from one kind of pedals, like I went from inverted hydraulic pedals to, you know, regular mounted from the bottom pedals. And I had to redo the whole front of my rig, but I was able to because of the design of it. I was able to completely modify it and twist it into what I needed it to be, completely different than it was before. And so if you go buy one of these tubular things, you're stuck with what you got. William, BDH active shifter. I think this was the number one hottest thing at the Sim Racing Expo.
Yeah, so you guys got to see it there, and I'm pretty sure the announcement was covered on a show that I had to miss. But we've got a couple previews of the BDH Active Shifter, one from Boosted Media and one from Sim Racing Hub. Um, it- guys, I don't use a shifter. I don't need a shifter. I don't care for a shifter. I want this shifter. Um, I don't have a use for it, but it's really cool. They in the videos they show you it's got a little LCD display or LED display or something on the top of it. You turn a knob and it changes the shift gate, just like that, and it actually feels like you're getting it into the gear. So, like I said, I don't drive a car that needs it. I'm not going to use it. I still want it, but I don't want to pay the god awful amount of money I know this is going to be.
Yeah, but this is pretty cool. I mean, they show, you're sitting in there and it's vibrating, it was out of gear. It's just sitting there vibrating. They said it'll mimic if you miss it'll miss shifts. You
Yep.
can grind gears. That's the whole thing that we really don't get. I mean, it's, if look, if I mistime my clutch with my H pattern, it's still going into gear. The game may hesitate a little bit, but the shifter's still going in. The idea, I mean, you driven an H pattern car, a manual transmission, and you know what it's like to grind a gear. It's not going in. You got to come off the clutch and start over before you're going to get it to go in gear. So my only issue is just like more and more updated, newer race cars are not an H pattern. Now, if you do something that's historic, or if you're trying to mimic a certain type of car that you race, that you weekend race, this is probably what you want because you're looking for that one-to-one feedback and relationship.
Does it do sequential?
I didn't
I
see
didn't
that as
see
part
that.
of one of the
I don't
options.
think it
I
does.
don't know, to be honest. I don't. But I didn't see it as one of the options.
Right. So you can just turn that knob and go from a 4 gear to a 5 gear to a 6 gear. The
Yeah.
way the pattern is, change it. It's pretty awesome. He said it's a 3 Newton meter motor on there that gives it the vibration and the effects and different things. Uh, I heard it was like $2,000. Man, this is on my radar though. I'm all about active equipment right now. I love the active brakes and how they feel and how they match up with the wheel and the haptics. And I've been kind of eyeballing that Moza active shifter.
The
Not
toaster,
feeling like that one is worthy, but boy, this one kind of looks worthy. If it did sequential, I'd be
you don't want to bolt the toaster onto your rig.
I might have to. I mean, just to get that feel, but I don't know. I'm undecided. I was really hoping to try the toaster at the expo, and I couldn't find one.
That wasn't there, I don't think.
But out of the Sim Racing Expo in Germany this week, I think this was the big surprise out of everything that was shown. Okay, moving on. Brad, how about the ghost skeleton?
Yep. So this is Get Tail Design. We've seen this before. They have this as a extension. You get it in different lengths. So if you're trying to get your wheelbase behind your monitors, and you want to get the monitors down as close as you can. And the typical hub extension, it's going to be a nice big round, same typically the same shape or same size diameter of what your wheelbase hub is. But this isn't. So this has got a nice sleek design in the middle. This one is very light, so I'm not sure what the previous ones were made of, but they've made it a lot lighter. It's only 95 grams. Uh, so very light. That's for the 100 millimeter, and the 50 millimeter is only 72 and a half. So 50% lighter than competitors. Um, you know, they're pretty neat. Like I said, if you're trying to get your base behind your monitor, this is the way to go. So Justin's got, he has the original design, which is a little bit funkier looking, but as he's let everybody know, he was messing with this when he broke his monitor. So
Now, what are you doing, Brad, for spacers? I know you're thinking through this.
Um, everything's mounted. I haven't had an issue yet, so I don't really. I'm not sure if I'm going to have a knuckle buster on here. So for most part, I feel okay. We'll see when we get back into whenever I decide to put the oval rim back on. Whenever I get the desire to run an oval race, probably in February. Um, I'll make a decision there. But yeah, I don't have any issues right now. So and I think maybe at some point, and we've got a story down further in here, a different wheel deck that may end up doing something down the road. We'll see.
All right. Yeah. I think the biggest reason you need one is just to be able to get that pin in and out. You got to hit it with the back of your fist to push it through. And if you don't have a spacer, how you getting your fist in there to push it through? It's kind
That
of
is,
hard. You're gonna bust your
yeah.
knuckle.
Okay. Well, I could always put my gloves on before I do it.
I literally switch wheels daily, so it's a regular occurrence for me.
I got you, but I've boycotted the oval, so I haven't had to change a wheel in a while.
All right, William, something seems off here.
We got coverage about Thermaltake's line that they put out from it's coming from the Sim Gaming Expo. I mean, we've talked about this before. We've talked about, hey, there's no way these just aren't copies or rebrands of other companies' stuff. And then it came out last week or the week before. I was like, oh no, we haven't talked to these companies at all. This is completely our stuff. And then you got Boosted Media posting. It says it looks like Thermaltake are running the same PXN board that we just reviewed, and it looks awfully familiar. So they continue to deny that they're rebranded products, but I'm not sure how much I believe them.
Didn't you ask the guys at Cube Controls about this, Mike, at the expo?
I did, and they said that they were involved, but at the Sim Racing Expo this week in Germany, I've had more than one person say that they asked and they said no.
I don't believe them.
Yeah, neither do I. It's just, I mean, I.
They're identical with
They're
different logos. They are.
yeah, exactly.
So the Discord discussion I was trying to generate this week was, why isn't somebody getting sued in a court of law? Why aren't there lawsuits here? Why isn't Cube Controls and Moza filing a lawsuit against Thermaltake UK and Thermaltake Global for this blatant ripoff, copyright ripoff? Now, one of our viewers said maybe they didn't copyright their stuff.
Well, that's the thing. If you don't have a copyright or patent, then there's
I
nothing you can
I
do.
find it very hard to believe there's not a patent on their stuff. A company that big making high end stuff like that.
I don't know.
Um,
We've seen it with there's the Chinese knockoffs of all the
yeah,
The
pedals.
Simpson pedals, right?
Well, it
it,
started with like the Sim Jacks and stuff like that, but
it gets complicated. When you're talking about a Chinese company and internet going after people internationally, I think that's when we're talking about the Simpsons stuff. I think that's hard. Cube Control's Thermaltake, they're British and American. I mean, I don't think it'd be that hard to go after them if they weren't involved or okay. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I don't think that that's what's going on.
I agree. I think you're right. Thermaltake is British, U.S. based, UK, probably Europe, and surely Cube Controls and Moza have a European presence. They could sue in one of those countries. I don't get it. I think this is the first time we've seen it in sim racing to this degree. I mean, we've seen the Heiskensfelds, blatant
Well,
rip
but
off.
yeah, but the difference is it's taking the people took the concept, it took the mechanics of the Huskenfelds, and it's the mechanics is copied, but it's not. This is like literally the exact same thing. I mean, there's not even a deviation. When you look at that wheel, that looks exactly like the Cube Controls wheel. When you look at the pedals look exactly like the pedals. It's not even. I mean, it looks like the same materials. It looks like the same everything. And I think that's even what Will's getting at with the PXN. It's it's literally the same controller board. So, I mean, look, I have no issue if somebody wants to do something and sell it and have somebody rebrand, so be it. Just then say that's what it is, you know. But I guess my frustration is if you're not if that's not the case, you know, Cube Controls asks a lot of money for high end Italian, you know, steering wheels. Well, if that's the case, then if it shouldn't, if you're going to sell a thermal take, it's going to be hard. I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to hide, you know, well, we're going to sell it to them for a cheaper price and they're going to sell it or whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's not a good look from either side if they're not going to own up to it or say what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, it's all fishy as far as I'm concerned. I can't wait for Will Ford from Boosted Media and other reviewers to actually review a thermal take wheel and take that thing apart and look at it and say, look, this literally came off the same, manufacturing warehouse, or they're literally the same product. And I think we can tell that just by the look of them. Okay, William, how about the magnetic DDU mount?
There's a very quick TikTok video displaying a universal magnetic mount for a DDU. You can pop it on and take it off really quickly. Brad, this is where you bought your light diffusers from, isn't it?
It is, and I just ordered
Yeah.
this tonight.
Yeah.
Spend Brad's money.
Well, I
Well,
mean, not much of it. It's $22 plus whatever it takes to get it
Well,
across the
look,
pond.
when you want to see your full screen, you just rip it off now because it's magnetic,
yes,
right?
yes. That's the whole reason. So I emailed Andy at Simfire, and I was like, dude, I said, you released this like 2 weeks after I ordered the other things. He goes, yeah, if I'd known you wanted it, I could have put it in there. I'm like, that's whatever. I said, get ready. I'm going to put an order in. So I'll probably have this by next week. I told him I'd give a review, but yeah, so that's my, you know, I even tried a few weeks ago. I had this idea. I was like, you know what? I'll order some real strong magnets and I'm going to create it to where I can just put my DDU on here. I couldn't get it to work. You know, the magnets were super strong. I could have probably held the DDU and hung from the ceiling, which was fine. But to put something vertical, it wouldn't hold it. It was sliding up and down. So now I'm excited because when I decide to get back in the oval car, I do want to take the DDU off. So I'm prepping myself for next year, Mike. I will get back in the cup car at some point. But yeah, so this is cool. I'm looking forward to it. So I'll give everybody an update. Should have it by next week.
Yeah, my next thing to add to the rig is the fourth monitor and the mount. I'm gonna get that next. It's gonna be a little bit of money. So, but after that, I'm gonna do the Pokey, whatever I can never say it, Pokeyani, the do-it-yourself DDU. I'm gonna try that, and when I do that, I'll buy one of these.
Well, you got a 3D printer, right?
I do.
So you can probably just find the files and print it.
Eh, it's $22. I'll give him. He's done the work. I don't mind
Yeah, he is.
spending
It's
over
a good
stuff.
design from what I can see in this video. It almost like slides into place. Uh, from
Yeah, so it's got adjustables on the back, but then it just pops right in there. So yeah, it's $22. I think it's like 24 to have it shipped here. So at the end of the day, it'll be about $50. I'll pay 10% tariff or something is what I had to pay for the light shades. So again, I think they're doing a good job. Andy's been super communicative with me. We've emailed back a bunch of times. So
Okay, I got the next one. It says "Stay in your lane." It is a Instagram post from Grid One Sim showing the Track Time Series One Sim Racing Cockpit. Um, and this thing, this is the other thing at the Sim Racing Expo that caught my eye that was new and different than anything else. And what it is an 80/20 kind of style rig, but it's got this LE, I guess it's LEDs or some kind of lighting embedded in the outer side of it, which lights up into bright colors.
so this is Asher, and that's why I
Yeah.
said stay in your lane. Just can we stop with the RGB? We don't need RGB on
Oh,
everything.
I would have swore it was Corsair just because the RGB.
Oh, it's Asher. Okay.
Yeah, so it's Grid One Sim is the Instagram channel, but yeah, this is an Asher product.
So you have to
The
plug your rig into power to light it up, the RGB.
Yeah. The only reason, and I hate this, but the only reason I could see it is if you could hook it to Sim Hub and have it flash yellow or
Oh,
blue for
I'm
your
sure
flags.
I'm sure you can, but
I still don't want it.
why? Some things don't need to be done.
It's not like they even did it like some nice ambient lighting, like along the bottom of the rails or something. This is like no.
Well,
Yeah, the bottom rails is a good. I've thought about doing that myself. I've thought about putting some LED strips just to add a
Yeah.
little bit of light to the bottom. I've thought about that, but not. I no no
Oh.
no no no.
I'm sorry if you're listening. Please go to the script and look at this thing.
what
No.
about a commercial application like Brad, where we went to
Yeah,
dinner in
commercially.
Chicago, that one place with all the sim rigs where Matt Boley was? Like, I could see
Okay.
this kind of be there, and it looks good, right?
Y- y-
I could see it in a sim center, yes.
Yes, yes, I could see it there, but I wouldn't even want to see it there.
No, but at least it makes sense in my head for it to be there.
All right, Brad, and this was the last thing I think that really caught my eye, and yours as well, the Advanced Sim Racing Adjustable Wheel Deck.
Yeah, this is cool. So, if you watch the video, the way this thing is set up, it has so much adjustability. You can go backwards, forwards, up, down. I mean, just pivot angles. Oh my goodness gracious! So I looked at the website on this. I've got a Track Racer TR160. You can order it based off the chassis you have. So this is not just an ASR thing. You can get it if you have a different chassis. Um, so this is whenever we can figure out the tariffs with Canada and get that straight, to where I don't have to pay the extra money, or I'm going to have to blackmail like Greg to bring it across the border for me. This is getting ordered, because this is my one complaint with almost any static rig is the adjustability in the wheel deck. Some of them have done a pretty good job. The P1X has got some options in there. SimLab has done some, but this right here is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, this is a nice upgrade. I could see myself buying this and ditching my extension actually. I like the idea that you can push it back and then bring it up to you when you sit down. That is awesome. What about flex? Are you concerned about flex in this piece or?
No, I'm not. Not you get those things tightened down, and I can't imagine there's any flex. I mean, those locking those locking T nuts. That's the same thing that's used on my TR160 under the pedal deck. That's the same thing. If you remember, we saw what was that Sims by Racers with the adjustable
Oh, the
the
seat
foot,
slider thing.
the seat slider. Same those same things. It's like tightening down a T nut. Those things get super tight. Um, yeah, no, it's this is on the bucket list for next year sometime.
It looks really cool. I have not felt the need to adjust my base literally since I built the rig 2 years ago, but I still kind of would like to put this on. So I've honestly, because I don't need it, I haven't been paying attention much to its actual thing. One, have we gotten a price for it yet?
I think it was around 350.
Oh man, a little steep. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, and it's probably worth it if you adjust a lot. But man, and two, it is compatible with all their bases, or I mean, all their rigs, or do you have to?
There was an option. Let me go. Go on to the next thing, and I'll find it. I'll come back to it.
All right.
All right, then, William, the new gear from Sim Magic is shown.
Yeah, Lawrence Duswosa, sorry, um, has an Instagram post showing off some new gear for SimMagic. First, the Alpha Evo Ultimate, their 25 Newton meter wheelbase, their new steering wheel, and then a product I had not heard of yet, the P700 pedals, which is kind of confusing to me because I'm not sure what they're going to put between the thousands and the 500s. I think that's a very limited scope there. So, do we have reviews for that yet, or just the announcements, or any previews?
These are just pictures from the expo. They were showing off the products there. I saw an advertisement from Sim Magic today that was 3,100 for the 25 base, the Zeus wheel, and the pedals. 3,100 for all three.
Uh, I don't know about that. For the
Yeah,
P700 pedals?
that's what it said. Look, I think the base is 900 if I remember right.
Well,
The-
the new base it's not out for sale yet. I'm sure it's going to be more than probably
Yeah.
900.
Oh,
The
okay.
18, yeah, the Pro is 900. That's the
Oh,
18
okay.
newton meter. So the wheel deck, I take that back. It's just under 500. But compatible chassis is the Pro and F Pro Generation 1, F Pro, F Pro 6 Legacy Generation 2, and then also the ASR 4 and 6 Generation
Okay.
1, SimLab, P1X Pro, Ultimate, GT Omega, and then the Track Racer
Oh, nice. So you
TR160
can put
and
it on.
TR120. Yeah, that's the one thing is nice. You can put
Yeah.
it on other rigs.
Nice. Okay. Worth it if you feel like you need to move your stuff a lot. I don't, so I probably won't spend that money, but I can understand it. Anyway, back to the Sim Magic. Yeah, I don't know what that base is going to cost, and that must be an expensive steering wheel because you can get the P1000 pedals for like $600. So I don't know what they're going to charge for the 700s plus that steering wheel to make that 3,100.
Well, yeah, I mean the Zeus with the we've got it down a little bit further in here too, but the Zeus has got the removable DDU that pops off, can be put
Ah,
in
okay.
right onto the can be put right onto the end of the base, so that you can move it. And it's all powered by however it connects. I mean, there's no wires, no
Right.
nothing. So
Yeah. Okay.
All right, moving down to from track to sim. We have a post here showing from simracinghub.nl the new Cosworth wheel. Holy moly, this thing's beautiful.
Better be
if you've, I think it was about $12,000.
10,900.
Okay, might as well.
I love how
Yeah.
thin it is.
Well, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, and Cosworth makes the real thing, but yeah, I'm very limited market.
No
So this
funky switch. What?
No funky switch.
No funky. It's a sim wheel. It has to have a funky switch.
so this is a collaboration between SimLab and SimRep Engineering. Now, what was the company in Australia that Tony Kanaan sent his wheel to so he could recreate one? I think it was a different company than this,
Yeah, I don't think it was these guys.
but that was a Cosworth recreation, I believe.
Yeah, it was fully custom though.
Beautiful wheel. All right, and then Brad, DDX by SimLab. Do you have regrets?
No, no, I don't yet. So, and I don't think I will. So, watched a lot of the stuff that came out from the expo on this. Some of the early feedback was it was good. Still has work. Some concerns with the kind of an odd feeling in the center. I mean, they've admitted again. Look, I have no doubt that the quality built is going to be there, but we all know that when it comes to DDUs, where the magic all happens in software. and how you take that servo motor and how you make it work. I do love the idea of USB pass through. I love the idea of their quick release because it leaves the expensive side is on the wheelbase side, and it makes the part that goes on your wheel much cheaper because it's a very small piece. Um, the thing is monstrous, though. That's my big concern. Since the power unit is attached to it, it is big and it's long. But I think we still got some time to tell. I think they're probably talking Q1, is what I'm hearing now. I think when we talked to Richard at the Sim Gaming Expo, he was hoping by the end of the year. I don't know if they're going to make that yet or not. I think time will tell. Look, you're going up against the giant in the market, and that's SimuCube. And Richard was very blunt when he told me. He said, "My goal is to make something that's better," and I have no doubt that that's his goal. Um, but it's their first shot at it. I do think they hit a lot of buttons, and I think they hit a lot of things of what people want. And there's been a lot of feedback and a lot of pushback with SimuCube in regards to no USB pass through, and some of the route that they're taking. And I understand why they're doing what they're doing, and I'm not faulting them for it. Um, but the community has become somewhat dependent on either USB connection. If you're going to run screens, you're going to run SimHub. You got to have a connection for USB, and being able to do it as a USB pass through, it makes things a lot easier. But I think time will tell. But initial feedback is good. But it's like anything else. I mean, it's even like the SemiCube 3. We don't really have a good feeling on what that's like either because they haven't gotten a finished software package together yet.
Kind of a concern when they launch the hardware before the software's ready. I mean, that kind of is alarming, but all right, let's keep moving. William, when you want to go big.
Yeah, this is an Instagram post from Asher. Looks like they're kind of branching out into everything, right, Brad? Um, with a 8-inch DDU. Kind of reminds me of the 10-inch Porsche one that Grid by SimLab does. Yeah, I mean it's pretty. It's very beautiful. I don't see how I would integrate something that big into my rig. It's just not kind of. It wouldn't look right into my rig, but I guess if you got it set up a certain way, it would. It's available now, though. If you go to their website, I think they say it doesn't ship until the second to last week of the year.
How do you
And
mount
it's
it?
gonna.
Yeah.
If you go to the website, it gives you several different mounting options. They've got brackets that attach to the back. That kind of will hook to your rig. Um, yeah, it comes in at 500 pounds. So 500 pounds, convert that to dollars, and then add the tariff on top. So I think you're looking at like 650 once you get over here.
Well,
I could be completely wrong on the tariff calculation too. So, but it's
uh,
more than 500.
yeah, I mean, look, if you're, I think this falls right in there with the grid Porsche thing. That's the only car that this makes any sense to do. If
Right.
you're into driving Porsches and you want that gigantic big DDU, this is the way to go. I mean, look again, like you said, I'm sure the quality is fantastic, but it's monstrous.
Yeah, it's very
It's
big.
big. It's very
Touch
big.
screen, metal housing. It doesn't look 3D printed. It's a
Oh
high
no,
end.
yeah,
It's
no.
CNC milled. Yeah, no, it's quality. Don't get me wrong. Like that to me on my rig, it just looks out of place.
All right, I'll take this one. The Ace dual mode shifter. We have a rare photograph of this. Now, when Lawrence Dusoswa was doing his live stream at the Sim Gaming Expo in Germany, he tried really hard to find one of these that he could put his hands on and touch and show us. And they were, even though they had announced the product the night before at the expo, they did not have any out on display. And so I guess that's a red flag. But Ace does have what's called a dual mode shifter prototype that switches between H pattern and sequential in seconds. And it's kind of got that big toaster look.
It looks it looks like their DDU just turned on its end. Um,
Got the LED strip and
yeah, and they've got a handbrake here along with it too. So yeah, I just don't like the way any of their stuff looks. It's just what it is.
It does look like the wheel base is
It
turned on its
is.
side.
That's exactly what it looks like. It's like the car companies when they try to carry like the grill package across every single vehicle, whether it's a truck, it's a car, it's a van, or whatever it is. It's like every car has to have the same look, and it sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't know. I've said before 100 times, I'm just not a huge fan of Ace X. It's an aesthetics thing to me, and this looks like it looks like plastic. It may be metal, but from the pictures, it looks like a piece of plastic is what it looks like.
Yeah. William, how about the Solpec Terra XLX?
Yeah, so the Simulation Expo in Dortmund, they revealed a new wheel. They make my beloved the Spectra with the giant LCD screen that I really really want. It looks like they're making a. They've already got a version of the Spectra without the screen, but it looks like they're making a different wheel without the screen. It's got a few more knobs on it to. Oh, and now Instagram doesn't want to load for me. It's got a few more knobs on it for adjustments. It's got a funky switch. They announced it at the Sim Racing Expo, and they said pre-orders will open soon. But if you go to their website, it's still not ready. So don't really have too much more information about it.
Yeah,
It's not a bad looking wheel. I don't
Doesn't
like
look bad.
I just don't like the placement of the four dials. They're
Yeah,
very odd.
but
and don't get me wrong, they're quality. They really are. But I know their pricing model, and for a wheel without a screen, I think it's going to be right up there on some of the ones that yeah, it's very very nice. But do you really want to pay that much for the wheel without the screen? If you're paying that much, you're probably going to get one with it built in.
so my takeaway on this was it's nice, but it ain't as nice as that one you want, the Spectra. That one
Oh no,
still
heck
is
no. Yeah.
king, totally. Love that wheel. All right, I got OC Racing, Oscar, and we hope to have him on the show as a guest in November. Been emailing him, and we're going to plan on that. But he gives a quick video where he basically shows everything there is to see at the Sim Racing Expo in 10 minutes. And so if you want the quick lowdown and want to see every product that's there, he gives a glimpse of basically everything. And so it was nice to see, which exhibitors are there, which one were at both expos. Like for example, Arc Dynamics, the big motion platform that had the weights on it, they were there. They were at both expos. Um, the big motion rigs that we saw were prevalent in Chicago, like Simcraft and Podium One and Driven Dynamics. None of that stuff was in Germany. So I think
So
the most motion I saw there through this video was the Vero. Vero was there. We also saw the not motocross, but a motorcycle racing sim where there's he sits on the bike and you lean left and right.
so then we've also got in the script is Lawrence D'Souza doing a live stream. It's about an hour. I think it's about an hour and a half or so. It's pretty good. Same thing he did for he did this last year at the Sim Racing Expo. He did the same thing the Sim Gaming Expo when we talked to him. But he gets a little bit more in depth, kind of bounces around. He's got live people live chatting, so he's answering questions. He's going over and asking questions and talking. But his was good as well, a lot more in depth than what OC Racing's was. But it was kind of neat to be able to, you watch one of these and you get the good feeling from what's there. I think I told you guys in the chat. I mean, if the one that they're because same people putting this one on are doing the one in Charlotte next year. If they have as much people as we're here, I think it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, I will 100% be at the one in Charlotte. We actually normally vacation the following week for their dates. We're not doing that week this year, so I'll be able. I I think when it got announced, we were under the impression it was one day, or somehow I got that in my head. But it's gonna be the whole weekend, same weekend as the Coke 600.
It'd
Um,
be Memorial Day weekend.
yep. So I will 100% be there. I can't wait to see all this stuff.
I can't
Yeah,
afford to do both, so I'm probably not gonna make the Charlotte one.
that's a 3 hour drive for me, so
Yeah, it's
I'll,
like
I'll be there.
6 hours for me. Yeah, I'll be there.
So you guys want to do a iRacers Lounge booth and all that, or no?
They're probably a little more
Yeah,
expensive than
I
what.
that's what I was gonna say. I don't think you're gonna be able to afford it here. George was very nice to us, and he was awesome. But I know these guys have been doing this for years, and I think they're gonna be out of our price range.
Yeah, and I really appreciate Lawrence DeSoswa and his live stream. Look, I was working that day, and every break and during my lunch, I was on the YouTube watching that live stream, trying to absorb, what we're missing over there. And like Brad said, he does a great job of really making you feel like you're at the expo and just walking around and just showing you everything that you can see. Okay, William, how about the best value in sim racing?
Yeah, random call sign does a quick little video about the Conspit. Is it called the GT300?
Yeah,
Yeah, the 300
cheapest
GT.
one with a
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
display, I think, on the
yeah,
market.
I got that. Yeah, I got that backwards. It's the 300 GT. Yeah, it's got a display. It's a little tiny one, just a couple inches tall and a few inches wide. But I mean, I've heard honestly nothing but good things about the wheel. I even think we have somebody in grassroots that has it, and like I said, I can't remember who. Um, but yeah, at $400, man, you're not gonna find much better. I don't think.
Yeah, the quality looks good. I've seriously have looked at their Max 01. That's the 300 millimeter, the one with the screen that is nice too. And that one comes in. I think if you get all the carbon fiber paddles and stuff, it's around $800 or so. It's hard to beat that price.
Yep.
Next
Just
up,
could use a little less purple. I'm not a huge purple guy. That's my only problem with it.
all right, and next up, the next generation belt tensioner, simracinghub.nl puts on Instagram photos here of what it looks for, and they call it belt force, and it's from Vero Motion, a brand new belt tensioning system built to push immersion to the next level. This belt tensioner comes with a very innovative and magnetic solution. Could this be a serious challenger to the cubic system belt tensioner?
I don't know. Something about it
Yeah,
just
I don't
looks
know.
off.
Yeah.
From watching the videos with the Cubic, um, I don't know. This one, it's just watching the belts. Just they don't seem very tight. They seem kind of loose, and it's a really big. Like I'm trying to imagine putting. I mean, having to put all that on the back of my rig, compared to just having to mount the box that goes for the Cubic, and then run the belts up into my up to the holes. It seems a lot easier.
Yeah, listen, I've been listening to the guys on the Chicane podcast rave about their cubic system for 3 weeks now. So if this is going to challenge it, it might have to be very, very good.
Now, in the Discord this week, I think some of the listeners were talking about they don't think Vero actually built this, that they maybe sourced it from another company.
Yeah, my Instagram link broke because Firefox doesn't like Instagram embeds very much. But I think it is by.
Will people still use Firefox?
Shut up. Yes, I still use Firefox. Um, yeah, it. There was another name in the post, and I can't recall it right now.
They call it Belt Force. Yeah, I don't see another name, but yeah, I
Yeah,
forget the company that the listeners were referring to. I don't know if it was Cubic though. I think somebody was saying
no,
that.
it's not.
Yeah. All right, well, let's keep rolling. Brad, the Cube controls Taurus wheel.
Yep. So this was unveiled at the Sim Racing Expo as well. Cube controls, brand new Taurus wheel. So this is very similar to the one that looks like the knockoff by uh,
Thermal take.
Thermaltake. Yes, that but doesn't have the screen. So I'm guessing this is probably a GT formula, whichever there is. I haven't been able to figure out size, dimensions, and stuff on it. It looks like it's probably about a 295, maybe a 300. It's not bad. It's just the it's got 5 rotaries, and one of them is in dead center in the middle of the wheel. It's a odd. The button placement is odd. It looks like it's going to be quite a stretch, especially to the inside, because the bottom is very wide open. I think I'd struggle, and I got big hands. I think I would still struggle to reach most of these buttons.
You're right. You're gonna have to pull your hand off the grip to get to those, I think. All right, and next up is Sebelt seats. The motion sim fanatic puts up pictures from the expo showing off the Sebelt seat, and wow, it looks really high end. Different colors available: red, a blue with yellow, a red and a blue. I really dig the color schemes going. These are high end wheels. What do you think? $800 or something more?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Depends on what you get. I think they range from 800 to like mid threes, 3,000. So just depending on what you want. I mean, they look very nice. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want one, but I'm not paying whatever they want for that.
All right, I'll take this one. We have Moza issues. We have a sim racer on TikTok at Travis Racing World. He's upset at Moza because he was going down the straight. He was racing road cars. I think it Road Atlanta, Road America or something. Going down the straight, and then suddenly the wheel started spinning in a circle. Broke his finger apparently, and now the wheel doesn't work. And he's contacted Moza, and they offered to send him a circuit board to help him out. And he's livid that they won't just replace the product. And so he got a little mini rant here. Don't buy Moza. Don't buy Moza.
So, okay. First of all, who did he buy it from? Did he buy it from, Micro Center? Where did he buy it from? That the first step would be to return it to where you bought it from. If you're not getting the support back from the maker, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of just making a video and just ranting about stuff when I mean I don't know.
I think they run off the distributor program, so they want you to go back to where you got it from first. If it's still under warranty, then maybe they'll cover it. But shipping a DDU back to China, right? That's not cheap.
All right, Brad, we have a quick hit from Boosted Media about the Sim Magic Zeus.
Yeah, was pretty neat. So the screen on there can function 3 ways. So you can, if you slide, I think it's like you slide down your finger. I think that's what it did. Um, yeah, if you slide down, you have the option to where you can turn it into like a mouse pad, um, and then you can also actually switch on the screen whether or not you want to run from SimHub, if you want to use the Sim Pro, or if you want to use it as a mouse pad. So again, this is the one that will come off. You can actually pop it off the wheel, stick it on the DD, stick it onto the direct drive, and it turns into a dash there. It's powered up and everything. So they showed these last year at the same racing expo. They've been pretty quiet, but it's pretty neat. I like the ideas.
So at no point am I ever going to use my built-in DDU on my wheel as a mouse. I am sorry. Is it cool? Maybe. Not happening. And second, am I getting this confused, or are SimMagic the products that are traditionally not SimHub compatible?
They have been in the past. So with the original, the FX Pro is not.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I
So
thought.
yeah.
So this
So
is
with
notable because it's now you're able to use SimHub on their devices.
Yeah, so with the GT Neo, and then the Neo button box with the mag link, you can make those
Okay.
sim up
Yeah.
compatible. Now they were also, they've got uh the new hub for the Evo that's got the USB pass through that allows you to use it with SimHub much easier, because now you don't have
Okay.
to worry about the mag link. You can just connect it in there. So yeah, they
Yeah.
finally have kind of moved forward. Said, hey, I bet you got to support SimHub. It's just what it is. That's where everybody's using. You just you're you're
Well,
you're wiping out an entire segment if you're not going to to offer something that is compatible with SimHub. And again, this goes back to
right.
the discussion with SimiCube 3 is if it's great that Lovely Dashboard and some of these other ones are going to use the chipset to run to run the wheels to work on the SimiCube 3, but there's unless they can get something that's going to work with SimHub, I'm afraid that
No,
again
it'll work with SimHub because those dashboards run on SimHub.
I don't know. There is no data. I don't think there's any data pass. There's no sort of data pass through where SimHub would be able to come through on the SemiCube threes. From what I'm reading, it's going to be locked into whatever is going to be done into that, unless you've read something differently.
But
No, I haven't.
no,
I
what you're talking about, William, is like, look, I build one of those custom wheels or whatever, or and then I want to use SimHub on it, and I have a SemiCube 3. How do we do that without just running a cable directly to the wheel?
Yeah, so the ones that aren't part of their approved ecosystem, right? Yeah, those I understand that. But then you're just USB, your coiled USB to your hub, right? So I still don't see how the semi wouldn't work on this.
It would work with a wire, but not through Lightbridge and all that. With through their quick connect.
I think what a
Ooh.
lot of people get, hey, it's 2025. We shouldn't have to run a cable to our wheel anymore. Everything should be wireless.
Yeah, I think we need to do a little bit more research on that part because, like I said, Lovely runs, I'm pretty sure, exclusively through SimHub. So if they're partnering with SimiCube on their SimiCube 3 launch and these wheels that they've pre-approved, I don't see how
But
it's not going to work.
because they're going to be in the software. Did you watch the announcement that they did?
Yeah.
So where they showed in
The
the
SemiCube
SimiCube
tuner software.
tuner, right? You had Asher would be in there, and then you could make all the changes to the Asher wheel built into that. My assumption is that Lovely's going to be in there. That's where
Okay.
you would go in and make all the changes to the Lovely
You think
dashboard.
Lovely is going to be integrated into their
Yes.
private
Yes,
software?
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
Currently, they're exclusively through SimHub.
Currently, yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be that's some of the pushback of them trying to create an ecosystem, and I understand that. But again,
I'd be really surprised. SimHub is so ingrained, and maybe I will be surprised, honestly. But that seems like a awful idea.
You think SemiCube is second guessing themselves on that decision?
reading I've spent quite a bit of time on their Discord, and one, I just bought a SimiCube 2, so I've been trying to keep up with what's going on with that. But I've been reading the thread there about the three as well, and again, there's a lot of people that I don't think are going to move away from the twos because there's not a whole lot of benefit that we can tell right now. And then again, you're going backwards some degree on what you've got as far as hardware too. Is if I got to buy a new quick release, that's like, I don't know, the quick release is like $300. That's crazy. 250 $300 or something, just for the wheel side. So I don't know. Look, Mike, you said they release this with no working software. I think as soon as SimLab said, "Hey, we're making an announcement at the Sim Racing Expo," I think SimiCube was like, "Okay, we gotta get on top of this," because I think they needed to be the first one to make an announcement.
Right. Let's move to results and talk racing results. The NASCAR iRacing Series Talladega Sunday fixed. I ran P6. I was actually leading 3 to go, and I got wrecked. It's when I went to go block that middle lane. So I pulled up from the bottom to the top to be the first car in the top lane. Uh, I didn't time it just right, and they decided instead of getting behind me to go around me on the outside. So I got sucked backwards through the middle. When the outside lane of cars, maybe 4 or 5 of them, started to come down in front of me, that fourth or fifth car in line, yeah, just came right across my nose. From there, I got in multiple wrecks. I had over 10 minutes damage. There were 3 green-white checkers. I had to pit on the final green-white checker for fuel. I restarted 15th on that final restart, and somehow, some way, with the wrecking got up to P6. With 10 minutes damage, I finished P6. We'll take it. Chris Waldron, he wrecked out while leading near the end. Moving on to Martinsville, last night, Chris Waldron, P10, got a weird black flag for passing before the line when I was told to pass a lap car. Got my lap back, green white checker, restarted P6, then Bedlam. Finished P10 after getting in a wreck. Everyone was wrecking. Today, Thursday Open, Tony P12, it says. I think that might be from last week. Justin was in the race. I think he wrecked out. He didn't put his result in. I got wrecked out, D and F. I got incidental contact with damage for 10 incident points. And then at lap 30, I'm on the inside, just minding my own business. The guy on the outside, he tries to duck in behind me, apparently. Instead, he literally runs into the back of me and right hooks me hard into the wall. Car not drivable. I had to park it. And I think I'm going to protest that. I sent you guys the video in the chat. I mean, it was absurd. I couldn't believe it. All right, moving to Gen 4. Qualified 18th out of 20 and worked my way up to the top 5, as high as P4, but finished P6 in top split. We'll take it. And then we switch weeks over to Vegas. Top split, 21 cars. I qualified 10th and finished P11. Got what I deserved. I ran out of tires near the end. Really good combination this week with Gen 4 in Vegas. A lot of fun. Next, Ringmeister in the Pontiac Solstice. Started P7, finished P2. I just didn't have enough time to get to the leader. It was a great race. Started ninth, got up to second, and then spun all by myself on the final corner before the long straight. I have no idea what I was doing. I fell back to 12th and then finished P9. Next, started 11th, eventually got to 4th on the final lap, catching the guy in front of me. I catch him on that final straight, drafting by him into the final corners to finish P3, nice podium. Then I started 14th, got to the lead by the end of lap 1, to the lead from 14th. There were 4 cars fighting for the lead for a while. Eventually, we got down to 2, and I was leading coming into the long straight, and he drafted by me perfectly. I couldn't do anything, and I gave up the win and finished P2. I think I'm learning you cannot be leading at the end. Shout out to a listener in the race who recognized me in the race. It was George Lee 4. And then finally, I started 29th out of 30 in the top split. Dead last. Moved my way up pretty quick and got as high as 16th, but finished 18th when I got dumped at the end in a chicken fight at the end on the long straight. But I creeped it home with a black flag meatball to get the finish. Imza, Brad, P9.
Yeah, ran last night, first start of the week. Started P7, got up to P5 within the first lap, but coming through the S's, coming out of the S's on the second lap, had a huge freeze, went off into that long, nice big sandy beach there. Got back on, had dropped to 12th. So as I'd said, I noticed I was getting stutters in practice with Discord overlay once. I turned that off. They went away. But it was my front haptics that kept disconnecting and reconnecting, and every time they did, it would cause a freeze. I finally just had to turn those off. Not really sure what's going on there, so I had to diagnose it. I swear, every time Windows does any sort of update, it jacks every bit of sound up on the computer, and it's incredibly infuriating. So, but at the end of the day, I was off pace. I wasn't able to gain any of the spots back. I ended up finishing P9, but that was either guys ahead of me wrecking out or getting penalties. William and I talked about it quite a bit last night while we were racing. Just I got to get the car more comfortable in a few sectors to try to make time, losing a ton of time in the Porsche curves, and then into the Ford chicanes. Just the car is not stable. I don't trust it, and yeah, just same. I'll talk about when we get to grassroots. Similar thing. Just I got to have confidence in the car, and I don't have it right now.
Okay, William, P8. All right, William, P8.
Yeah, I ran the same time split as Brad, trying to split together. Unfortunately, yeah, it didn't happen. I got put in the top split. I was out of, I think, 18 cars were there, 18 GT3s. I was the bottom one. I was one of three people under 3K, so I knew I was in for a time, before we even started. I messed up qualifying, got off track, and you only get one lap here, so I started dead last. And even then, though, I was still embarrassingly slow here. I don't know what happened. We ran this. The guys, I had to miss grass series this week, but we ran it in the last season, I think like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I was decent on pace. Like I thought I was pretty good there, and here I was 3 seconds a lap off the fast guys. I get their 7K, but still, I'm not normally that far back. And then I was even slower than the people around me. Yeah, I just have no idea where the pace went. I've had a lot of time in the sim over the past 2 weeks with work, so maybe I was a little rusty, but I don't normally struggle this bad. So, I was losing almost a second in the Porsche curves to almost everybody, and I don't normally struggle there. So, I don't know. Maybe I was overdriving it. Maybe I just, like I said, rusty. Don't get it. I still finished P8, which is a normally a decent result in top split, but it's not because of anything I did for sure. People died. I think we had two people run out of fuel in the last lap, just being silly. So again, a decent result, but not because of anything I did.
Okay. Grassroots Racing, Brad, P18.
Yeah, P18 overall, P6 in class. So, like I said, with the IMSA officials, just kind of struggling with pace this week. Um, the, I felt better um, Tuesday night coming through the Porsche curves than I did last night. But after pitting, and I don't know why, but I came through probably the second lap out after the pit stops, and the car just snapped on me coming through the second left, yeah, second portion of the curves, and I just drilled the wall. Car was the steering wheel was at about 9 o'clock, so I went back and had to do a fast repair. Um, so horrible finish overall. Grateful that we didn't have a huge showing for the pro drivers, so I still ended up with a P6, surprisingly. So it's just not. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Le Mans. It's just such a big track, and it's so easy to lose time there. And yeah, it's okay. It's just I don't know. It's, it's not. I don't know. It's like it's going. You go run 10 laps and it's done. So if you mess up two of those, you're done.
Hosted. I had a rough time. First night, Chris McGuire hosted B Car at Daytona. I was leading the race with 3 to go when the guy pushing me was pushing through the corner. He touched the apron and ended up taking me out as the leader. This was after he did the same thing to several other people during the race, so I was surprised when the admins did not remove him from the race. I did call him out over the radio. The next night, I ran supercars at Michigan. I'm in the lead pack, bottom lane, front row. And some bonehead goes below the white, and at the end of the straight, he just pushes up into me and takes us all out. I was livid. The admin didn't remove him immediately, so I verbally let go on the radio. Um, I I called him out. Hey, how do you live with yourself when you race like that? And so then so this was a regular. It's not just some random guy who showed up. He was one of the regulars. So after the race, I hear the admins trying to coach him. Hey, yeah, that didn't look kosher, man. That looked pretty bad on the replay. And the guy is making excuses and saying, just blowing it off. And I had not been that mad in a race in a long time. I was livid. And so it was one of those, rage quit, shut off the computer, and stomp away. All right, final thoughts, Brad Wren.
So yeah, I shared last week. I picked up a SemiCube 2 Pro, and I, like I came from Sim Magic Alpha, and I was I, I was happy with that. But wow, what a difference! Um, yeah, just I don't know. I feel like I could feel the car a lot better. I'm able to kind of tell where the edge is. Was struggling a little bit last night, but I think that was more car setup than the wheelbase. But yeah, just a huge difference. I would have had no idea that there'd be that much of a difference just in the feel of the base. So the one thing that did surprise me after running for like an hour and a half, the base was still cold. My Sim Magic was never cold. It'd be warm, never got hot, like I heard some people say. But yeah, very happy with the choice to do what I did. So that gave me the opportunity when I had to take the other base off, which I'll be putting all that stuff up for sale here probably this weekend. So I'll throw it up in Discord first if anybody's interested. But it gave me the opportunity to do a little bit of cleanup on the rig. Um, replace my uh, I got a surge protector that I run everything through, and I was able to find one to where I could actually mount it on the 8020. So that's up and nice and neat. I like things to be mounted. And then found a way to handle my USB. Um, I got a little thing I put in the Discord too. As far as a male to female for the USB connection. Actually mounted that up underneath my wheel deck, so it's a little bit clearer than just having a dongle basically hanging down. So, like I said, to me, I love the racing, but I do enjoy tinkering with my rig and always trying to make it better. That's one of the fun things I think about this hobby is it's not just the racing. It's if you get creative and you enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I'm also realizing that at 52 years old, when you're on your knees and you're laying down trying to do all this stuff, I'm not as young as I used to be. So for about 2 days, my legs were killing me after being crawling around trying to get all the stuff straight because I had to rewire everything. But super happy, very glad I made the move. In hindsight, wish wish I'd have just done this back in 23 when I bought everything the first time. Should have just the old buy once, cry once, and would have been better. So happy guy.
All right. And so are you creating your own profile on the SimiCube tuner software, or are you loading somebody else's?
I've grabbed Daniel Morad's, and I've played with his, and I played with Dan Suzuki's. I like Suzuki's. It's got a little bit heavier feel to the wheel.
Yeah, I
Um,
run I run Dan Suzuki's.
yeah, I like a heavier wheel. I don't know why. It's just what it is. So, yeah, but that's it's nice. I've tried to I've been reading through the Discord, trying to learn the tuner software a little bit. Haven't started playing with anything. Um, you know, was really nervous when I first started up. I was like, man, this thing is super light. What is wrong with this thing? This sucks. And then I hadn't turned on the high torque.
Yeah, I
And
told yeah.
yeah, as soon as I turned that on, I was
That
like,
magic
oh
button,
yeah,
right?
yeah, she came alive at that point. So I haven't done anything with Marvin's Awesome iRacing app with Myra app yet. I've just been doing strictly with the SimiCube software. So I'll probably play with that maybe this weekend.
So are you? But you said you haven't done anything with Myra. Are you still using Myra for the force feedback, or are you running
No,
iRacing right now?
just the iRacing right now.
Okay, when you switch to Myra and try it out, go into the profiles, and there's one already made for Myra that you can load up. I haven't tried it
Okay.
yet, but I know Chad said it. They set that profile for the recommended settings for the wheelbase.
All right, cool. Yeah, like I said, that's on the list to do. I just haven't. I didn't want to overload myself right off the bat. I wanted to actually spend some time just with the with the raw coming out of iRacing, and really wanted to just enjoy the difference between this wheelbase and the Sim Magic. So, like I said, it's been nice.
So wait, so you're saying there's a SemiCube tuner profile called Mira that we should be
I don't
running?
know what it's called exactly, but yeah, there is a profile in there that already has the recommended settings for Myra.
Okay, I haven't been doing that. I would load up my NASCAR profile or
Yeah,
my,
I still run Dan
whatever.
Suzuki's, and it feels great to me. So I haven't felt the need to go over there. But yeah, if you want to run the recommended settings for it, it's a profile in there.
So maybe I've been doing it wrong because I'm loading up, whatever profile I from the tuner software for whatever car I'm running, and then I'm running Mira on top of that, and it seems to
Yeah,
work.
and it might work great for you. Like I said, I haven't tried it personally because I'm happy with where it's at, just what I'm using. But the recommended ones that Chad did a lot of work with it. I don't know if he did the SimiCube one, but the recommended settings that the designers for Myra have figured out are in one of those profiles.
I'll check it. All right, William, and then final thought for you.
Yeah, we missed David's finish in grassroots. He finished P6 in the GTP class. Uh, Brad, how was the racing? Unfortunately, like I said, I had to miss it for work. Was it up to standard?
Yeah, there was a lot of I don't most of the pro guys I recognize the names. Some of the guys I don't know if we had some newer guys in there. I was to the back, and like I've told you before, kind of once you get back in there,
Yeah.
it's a bit sketchy. There were some odd moves that were made, and they got caught. You know, one of them was coming down, I think coming down Molson Straight, and the guy just there wasn't a lane to my outside, and boy, he just was determined to get there. So it's just like, okay, I was like, whatever, I was like, yeah, go ahead and have it. But yeah, it
Yeah.
seemed to be
So
okay.
I skimmed the replay, and I think I know exactly what you're talking about. And I thought, oh man, that wasn't great. Yeah, but as far as actual incidents, went over them. I think um, Blake kind of went through it and looked at it, and looked to be fairly clean, pretty good race.
All right.
A lot of self spin suicides by the Mustangs. I'll say that.
It was not fun, and the thing is a turd in the straightaway, and I'm scared to throw more wing into it because that's just going to make it even slower. But I feel like I need more wing to get to the Porsche curves.
Yeah.
My final thought. Uh, yeah, I'm running a little bit of NIS, running a little bit of Gen 4, and I'm doing a lot of Ringmeister. And it's funny how one week when we had last week we had the LMP3, I couldn't finish a race. I think I maybe finished once in P6, but we switch over to this Pontiac Solstice. I'm actually quick. I'm actually fast. I'm actually moving forward and through the field instead of backwards, not wrecking. And so it's funny how we go from one car to another, and it's totally different dynamic, but it's the same track. But anyway, I'm having a lot of fun with it. The Moza pedal through test today at Martinsville. Now I only got about 30 laps, but when we did run some green laps, man, it performed. It felt like a hydraulic. I can consistently hit that brake. It barely moves. I have it all set up like a hydraulic, and it's just spot on. I can't tell you how good that pedal is. With that being said, all it feels dull now that the effects have been removed by the software update. They had a bunch of different effects that were really nice. They removed them. I don't know why. I'm kind of waiting for them to put them back. If they do, I'm probably going to buy another one for a throttle. I still am thinking that. If they don't, man, I'm really on the fence. Maybe I'm going to sell this baby and go to SemiCube. But I look at those pricing and I'm still a bit scared. And then I think, okay, if I go to SemiCube and I really want a throttle, that's going to be real expensive. Uh, so yeah, I'm still kind of torn on what's going to happen here, and we'll see how it plays out. And with that, we'll see you on the track later. All right, title ideas. I like number one.
He was funny, but yeah, I think